This is from Joe A. Wilkins at CMU_Hoover. Given the trend we've seen with the Atari 2600, what trend? What do you think the future is in terms of preservation and market longevity for some of the more obscure, lesser remembered systems as they grow older? Bailey Astrocade, Magnavox 1 and 2, etc.
I've heard of the Bally Astrocade. I'm sure of the Bailey Astrocade, Ian. But also the Bally Professional, also the Bally Arcade, and also the Bally fucking computer. There's been like 8 names for that stupid thing. They renamed it every fucking year. Anyway, I like the Bally Astrocade though. It's a fine system.
Got a cool controller.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw your tweet with you and Adam Squarepainter about like, oh, the Intellivision was good except for that controller. My argument is a system is not good if the controller's shit.
No, it had fun games.
If you cannot play those games with a good controller, the system fails in comparison.
I had no real dog in the race.
Okay, because you want to say
I didn't go on anything.
You want to lick the 5200's balls all the times. It's not a great system if you can't play the games with the proper controller.
Plays a mean fucking game of Centipede.
Yeah, find the controller that you can do that with, Ian. Go to your Luna store, and out of the 12 or 15 in that box, how many actually still work?
I actually
2? 1?
No, I tested those.
Yeah, I tested them 2, and a year later, they don't work anymore without touching them.
Oh no, I'm sure at least 1 or 2 of them.
Anyway, so here's the trend with the Atari 2600, because when you talk about the first generation of consoles here, 2600 is the only one that's kind of collectible at all that people care about. No one cares about in television. They don't care about the Odyssey 2. I forget the Odyssey 2 exists until I see a cute little cartridge with a handle on it. No one cares about the Fairchild. No one cares about the Bailey Astrocade. And no one really cares about the ColecoVision. No, I love the ColecoVision.
Yeah, people care about the ColecoVision.
A little bit.
Enough to make it more expensive than the Atari 2600.
Sure, because each game you can actually play. Like, there's not like really shovelware on the ColecoVision.
Fair.
So, all right. We've seen probably the peaks for all those markets, and for most of those, they're in the past. ColecoVision, who knows? But games are preserved for all these systems. There are nuts out there to have a whole Fairchild or an Arcadia, Emerson Arcadia 2001. We always forget about. You were gonna complete the full set of like whatever they had, like 18 games, whatever.
Well, that was the Fairchild channel. That's what I was going for.
You can remember what? No, it was the Emerson Arcadia.
Whichever one had the yellow cartridges.
That was the Fairchild.
Yeah,
First
the Fairchild
cartridge system.
Yeah.
These are all preserved. There's nuts out there that I have most of probably the Fairchild library. Don't even realize it. I probably have a chunk of them, or the Emerson Arcadia, or the RCA Studio 2. Let's go from all of them. There's that.
Someone follows me on Twitter that goes, it's like RCA Studio 2, dude.
I saw that. So, and then why I'm bringing that up, because we talked about them finding that bingo cartridge.
That's
in RCA
right.
Studio, and then they found the fucking demo cart recently for the RCA Studio or something.
Really? Crazy.
So, and that was a weird ass company outside of Philly making this stuff. So the point is this: people are still looking and finding this stuff. There's always going to be a master, I guess, 20 or 30 people that are going to make sure this shit happens for all these systems. And it has. All this stuff is dumped for the most part. It's preserved. So that's one thing. Preservation, I think, is fine. That's taken care of on some level. Market longevity, there is this much market longevity. There is 0 for this first generation of consoles. For, I'd say, 95% of it.
Sure.
How many people out there are collecting the Fairchild Channel F right now? How many people are collecting Bally Astrocade? How many people are collecting Intellivision? Or even 2600 anymore? And that's probably the biggest one out of all these. And then go 20 years into the future, and when those people don't give a shit anymore, how many people will be collecting it? So that's the trend. The Atari 2600 is the trend, because that was the biggest one. It got big in the 80s, excuse me, got big in the 90s, and then died, and now you can't give away cartridges of it. And even though a Fairchild Channel F is a lot rarer, a Bally Astrocade's comparatively rarer than that, or even an Odyssey 2, doesn't mean people are going to want them 50 years from now. And that's the same thing even for NES, but to there are degrees here of how much people want it. If you worked in a store, I don't know. Have you seen people be interested? Were people interested in Odyssey 2 carts 10 years ago, and now they're not, or they never were interested in them?
I've had brief moments of interest in Odyssey 2. No, I have, but that's actually one of the only, not counting Coleco and Atari. Coleco, Atari, and Intellivision all have some constant interest. Atari the most, Intellivision and Coleco slightly underneath. Odyssey 2 is the only other one. Like, if I would throw Odyssey 2 in there with like Fairchild, Bally, Magnavox, and then all the other like Pong console variations, all the bullshit. Texas Instruments.
GI-99, sure. Always forget about that.
The Magnavox Odyssey 2 is the only one of the rest of the contenders pile that anyone ever asks me about.
That's so weird.
It's the only one.
So I've never known anyone who's interested in that console.
I've had a handful of people call me up and ask for stuff for it. Like, just never anything specific. Just, do you have anything Odyssey 2? And then...
Because it's the one person that might have owned it and wanted to get it again.
Sure, I've had a few people who've done that. And then I've had people come in and snap it up on impulse because they remembered something from youth. And because when we get those, it's like $40 and take all the games.
So that's
don't leave those behind. Take all the games.
But that's not a new collector. That's someone that grew up with it.
Sure.
There hasn't been a new wave of Odyssey 2 collectors or a wave of Channel F collectors.
No, absolutely not.
For good reason.
Yeah.
For the most part. You know, Odyssey 2 is a nice little kitschy little system.
Yeah, I mean, if there was one of those that I would play around with, it would be the Odyssey 2.
You can probably fit the number of RCA Studio 2 collectors in half of this room that exist.
Into one Twitter account.
Yeah, yes.
That person, and they're very nice, but
they're very nice.
Person, yep. That one person.
You're the last, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
You're the last of a breed that didn't even really exist back when that Studio 2 came out.
I'm sure the Twitter account for the Magnavox Odyssey 1 fans is larger than that.
Yeah.
Not to put you down, sir. But yeah, that's the future of the market longevity. There is none right now.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. When you get in a, have you ever gotten a Channel F system into the store?
Yeah, once or twice, and it was when we were still on Voltaire.
And there was like moss living in it, and did someone even buy it, or they're like, okay, I feel bad for this system sitting there?
I don't know what happened to it.
I found Channel F.
I don't recall selling
I was shocked. I found Channel F cartridges at the swap meet one time in 20 years of flea marketing or 30 years of flea marketing. I found them one time. I was scouring for the system. I said, well, this is so nuts. How could there not be a system here if I see these ugly yellow carts? And I couldn't find the system anywhere. Someone might have checked the system at the time, or else I confused the Model 2 one with some weird, audio player from the 70s. Anyway, thanks for the question there.
Yep.